Hello. So, I got a bunch of plywood, and what I'm gonna do with these is an isolation box for my speaker cabinet. And this is coated plywood, other side totally flat, and the other one's textured. And here's the guitar cabinet that's going inside with a 10-inch speaker. And then we have a bunch of stuff I'm gonna use, and that's the amp. So that's a Joyo Jackman 2. And the amp is going on my desk, and I'll just hook the wires up to the box. So that's how I'm gonna use it. So the amp is gonna be just handy and nearby. And I'll just mic up the cabinet how I want, and that's my sound. So yeah, and that's B906. The other microphone I'm gonna use, Behringer. So that's a Sennheiser clone of their 906. Cheap, good sounding. I'd buy it again. Then these goosenecks, and I'm gonna drill them to the bottom like that, and they're gonna hold the microphones. The other microphone I'm gonna use is Audio-Technica AD2020. And then for the hookup cables, I'm gonna use these. Well, actually, two of them are gonna be XLR ones, like that. For the microphone cables, and one is gonna be one with a lock, and that's for the speaker cable. And like I said, amp is gonna be on the desk, hooked up to that, and that's ready to go then. And I need to have a lid that's gonna open so I can adjust the microphones. So here's what I have for that. These are to get it really tight and locked, and these are going to the back, the hinges. Then lots of screws, of course, and these are just, I'm gonna use them momentarily so I can keep everything leveled, so I can drill the holes for the screws and all that. And this is a bit I'll use for these. You'll have to have one. And doesn't cost a lot, so I have a few of them in various sizes for jobs like these. Of course, a hand drill. And then I'll need cable for the connections inside. I'm gonna have 3 connections in there. Then I'll have rubber feet to put on the bottom of the box. This seal is gonna be between the lid and the box. And yeah, it just makes sure that nothing gets out of the box. And of course, XLR connections, like I said. I'll be running 2 of them into the microphones inside the box. And that's pretty much all I need. That should be everything I need to build this box. And oh yeah, that's the AD2020. I keep them microphones free of dust, so some I might just store in bags like that. But yeah, let's get started on build. And here we go. That's gonna be our base, and I'm just gonna eyeball a little and make sure I have the correct pieces joining, so I don't want to accidentally, they are not all the same size, so gotta be careful with that. And here we go. I'm just gonna make sure I have the corner leveled, and I'm gonna use that to keep them together. So I'll just drill it there, make sure the corner is even. And I'm doing this step because I'll be drilling holes to the sides, and I'm gonna be screwing these parts together. And that's what I'm gonna do next, since I have the box standing there. So yeah, the proper size drill bit, and I'll still make sure the corner is like good, 90 degrees leveled, all that. And then I'll take this bit so I can get the base of the screw leveled with the surface of the plywood. And this step I'm gonna be doing many times, so I'll speed it up, of course. And yeah, just don't have to be too much. I think that's a 35 millimeter, or maybe 40. The screw I'm using. It will keep it in place just fine. And let's put one in there. And then it's much easier to do the rest like that. And I'm using the red tape because the other side of the plywood is textured. So that will keep it airtight. And I'll just do the step on 4 screws per side. So that's 16 in total. And when I'm done, I'll put the bottom on, and I'll do the same thing. There we go, we can see the result. And after that, I'll take the rubber legs and I'll drill them on there with the proper screws for the job. And there we go. I'll lift it up. That's how it looks inside. Almost done. Yeah, here we go. That's how it fits a speaker cabinet of a 10-inch speaker. So yeah, next step, I'll do the insulation, so the seals. And this is part you don't want to skip. It just makes sure there's no sound or air coming out. And this is just the proper size, as we can see. So the plywood is 14 millimeters. I forgot to say that, but you know. And if you want, you can go thicker, and that means you'll have more isolation. And what that means, of course, is the amount of decibels is gonna be lower to the outside of the box. There we go. That's clean, or 4 sides. And then I can just fit the top on there. And it's a mess, as you can see. Got everything ready on top there. And even more stuff. So I'll start with the hinges, and I had to do a few holes there myself. And I kind of wanted to, make it tight like that so it really presses down to the seal or the insulation I have. So I'll leave the hinges a bit like that when I screw them in there. Like I said, I want it to be tight, airtight. I'll get them there. There we go. We can see it's gonna be pressed down. And then I'll do the other side. And oh, weird cuts. Well, I'm not the video editor by profession, so excuse me. But yeah, here we go. Then I'll do these. And these will make sure also that it's gonna be really tight. And I'll measure them, well, actually I'm just eyeballing them. I'm not gonna do precise measurements, but it's enough. And 2 of those hinges are gonna be just fine. And it's gonna keep it really, like you see there. There we go. So it's gonna be really tight. And then we'll jump on to the next step, which is, and I've already done one, but the holes for the jacks I'm gonna use. And these are on the back side, as you can see, the hinges there. And as you can see, I'm just making a mess. So I have a vacuum standby, and I can keep it clean like that and not spread it. And after the holes are done, as you can see, I'll start checking how stuff fits, what length of speaker cable I need there, and then I'll get on with the goosenecks for the mics. So I'll take my mics and I'll put them on the goosenecks. I'll fit them like that. I'll check the proper placement, and I want to be able to adjust them how I want. So I'll make sure the goosenecks are in the right place for that. And then I'll just screw them there and they will be ready to go. Like that. That's one in place. Almost. Alright, there we go. So that's one. And then I'll just fit the AT2020 in there. A longer goosenecks, that's what I had. And yeah, if I want to now, I can just bring the mic much further away. Alright. And those are done. Next thing I want to do is I'll just take this piece of, fabric. And I want the lid to be able to, stand up when I adjust the mics. So I'll just put this there to keep it up. Because it's going just next to a wall. And I don't want to be, making marks or scratches on the wall every time I want to adjust the mics. So there we go. That keeps it there nicely. That's done. And yeah, what's left now one seems to do the job, so I don't have to do anymore. So yeah, what we have left is now installing. And I actually had to wait for a little over a week. I didn't have these. So I had to order them from Tom. And I'm gonna get those in place. And after that, it's a lot of soldering left to do. And it's gonna have 2 of those. And then 1 for the speaker cable. So that's just your basic 1x4. Yeah, not that one. Dummy. The other type one. Dude, get your shit together. Yeah, there we go. That's the right one. Good. Almost fucked up. No, I didn't. I'm too hard on myself sometimes. There we go. So that's the setup. 2 XLRs, 1 basic jack. And then I'll just screw them there. Try to keep them, even and pretty. Like that. And as you can see, the Scots are weird. But yeah, after that, they're ready to go for my cable. And as you see, for the XLRs, I'm using a pretty thin cable. And I'll tell more about that in another video. And this is, of course, the stuff for the speaker cable. And that's what you want to use between your amp and your cab, a speaker cable. Sometimes you see people using an instrument cable, and that's just, no. I feel sad when I see that happening. All right, and here we go. We're close to the finishing line on the build, and that's the soldering of the cables. And here I'm just making sure which pole is which on these. And I could have made this a bit easier for myself, but I decided I'm just gonna screw them in place and solder them like that. It's not that hard. So, but of course I could have just, got them on the table, soldered them there, and then put the cable through the hole and screw them in place. And I could have done it like that. It would have been easier. But I've had practice with soldering, so this was no problem. And here we go. This will be the speaker cable. Like, get a good connection. Make sure it's really good. Yeah, I should have done a better cut on this part. Soldering can be really boring, as we can see. But after that, I'm just gonna measure the cables and do the rest. And I had the XLR end that connects to the microphones soldered already. So I just had to solder them to the jacks. And there we are. All done. And now I can just get the microphones into place. There. I'll make sure my cables are long enough, and I left a little bit extra on them just in case. There we go. Looks good. Take out the trash. Get them there how I want. There we go. And now it's ready to be used. And now we're gonna see how much of a difference it makes. So around 64 decibels when it's closed, and then when I open it up, above 90. So we can see it has like 25 decibel of reduction, and that's really good for the 14mm plywood. And our speech is around 60, so it brings the noise down to that. And there we can see my amp, just there on the desk, easy to control. And I'm gonna show you this box, built by David Ross, link will be in the description. And this box just has a speaker inside. And this way you can have different speakers on their own MDF or plywood, and you can just slide them in and change them. And I might update my box like this in the future. If I do, I'll make a video.